Hey Jackie, how are you? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining me and Destino today. And I pulled you today because I wanted to talk about you, your work, and celebrate the things that you've been up to, including Fallout Season 2 and all of your previous shows like Barry and the Marvel shows. Would you be able to start with your name and what you do?
Yeah. My name is Jackie Martinez, and I am a costume designer. Sometimes I'm an assistant costume designer, and sometimes I do made to order costumes as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to get into the details of what it means to do those roles. What was your role for Fallout?
For Fallout, I was technically a made to order costumer. So that kind of involved um, getting being in charge of all of the other sub departments in the costume department and kind of making sure that all the pieces got where they needed to go. So I deal with a lot of the shoppers for the fabrics, Emma Lawrence, Rita Burton. They would help source all of the fabrics and knickknacks and accessories and all that stuff. And then it would come into the shop and I take it from there. It's a long process, but yeah, it's fun. Yeah. I
And
can go
how
into
do you,
detail if you want.
yeah, I'd love to know what that entails for you on, for example, on a day one like Fallout.
Okay, for Fallout specifically, it was um like I said, we would have probably like a meeting in the morning with the designer, Dana Pink, and the two ACDs, Terry and Annie, and we would kind of get together and go over some sketches. We'd look at the sketches and be like, well, what do you think this is made of? What kind of colors are you thinking for this? You know, we would have discussions. And then we would have quite a few people sit in on that meeting and be like, okay, great, and go. The whole team would kind of split up, and I'd be like, Emma, go downtown and go find some fabrics. Rita, go find some weird hardware, some weird knickknacks, because that's going to be a weird, interesting costume. So she would go off and go find the things. And sometimes we deal with other vendors as well and be like, well, this team is working on building these characters. So I'm going to go drive down there to their shop for a few hours and see how that's going. Um, so there's that. Then in the meantime, I'm also on the because it was really interesting because we were shooting at Melody Ranch, which is actually an old ranch, and a horse used to live on it, and it was owned by Gene Autry, huge Hollywood cowboy star. When he retired, he just wanted to give his horse some land. And so he bought 30 acres for this ranch. And his horse just hung out on that ranch for like 20 years, 20, 30 years until the horse passed away. Then they sold the ranch and turned it into a studio. So that's what we're living on. We're working on Gene Autry's horse ranch, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, it's full of a whole bunch of tiny little buildings. And I'd be walking over to the aging trailer. There would be a background, not trailer, it's like a portable, kind of like a makeshift classroom portable building. And each portable building, we'd have different things involved in there. And we also had stages where as well there, So it was a lot of walking around. And so we deal with, a dyer, Tura. She dyed the costumes beautifully. Whatever fabrics we needed to get dyed, sometimes before, sometimes after, she would be in charge of that. And that was like a one-person show. Then we had Deb Ambrosino, um, and her team making a whole bunch of crafts. It was Joseph and Lucy. And they make a whole bunch of the shoulder armor, belt accessories, leather working, jewelry working. They're kind of like crafty hand people. It was incredible. They also milliners, like, oh, it was incredible. Then I had the Agers. I mean, this whole show is post-apocalyptic, so it's nothing without the agers, and a lot of times our workshop, our stitchers would then build a lot of the costumes and be like, that's beautiful, that's great. Now go over here and I need you to destroy it. And they're like, so like from 0 to 10, 10 being destroyed, 0 being brand new, don't touch it. I'd be like, dude, go deep, go like a 9. Go like a 9. Because 10 in my mind, sometimes it would barely hang on the person. So I'm thinking dead zombie 9, and be like, all right, holes, we have a discussion, you can be like, oh, do it like a 6, but no holes. Or, you'd kind of go that way. Um, Background was this whole other train of operations. Um, a lot of times, some of the background, especially when it has to do with flashbacks, it wouldn't have any aging. They would also be rentals, so you don't want to age it too much. But some of the communities within Fallout that were background, like the free side people, did have to get aged. And so that was his whole other process. We'd fit them all in rental pieces, or purchased, whatever we can. And then we'd have racks and racks just taking turns just going through getting aged and destroyed, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, my job was keeping charge of all of that, especially the components that I was mostly in charge of was the principles and the subgroups that were being made from scratch. So pretty much everything if you think about it. The only things that weren't made from scratch were the background clothes, most often than not. But like the groups of Legionnaires, we did the zombie Elvises, the ghouls that were Elvises impersonators, because there was an Elvis impersonation school nearby. We did the cons, which is a motorcycle gang, but there's no motorcycles because it's Fallout and all of the motorcycles and cars are done. Um, you know, I even made all of not made, I didn't make it. I'm in charge of overseeing the construction of even like Barb's clothes, um, Cooper's clothes, everything. So it was a lot of moving components, a lot of moving parts, and I was always pretty busy. Yeah.